takes 5 years to accomplish anything really really good in life. If you're going to be successful at business, if you're going to be successful building an awesome physique, if you're going to be successful learning how to get good with women, any of those things, anything pretty much that you want to accomplish in life, it's going to take 5 years. You need 5 years worth of commitment. That's the magic number. How do you set the goal for 5 years? Can you work on other goals, right? How do you keep the focus? All of these type of things. So if that's something that you are curious about, make sure that you stay tuned to the end of the video, because at the end of the video I'm going to be talking about how to get that focus, which is so important when you're trying to achieve these 5-year goals. I'm John from BulldogMindset.com. On this channel, I teach you how to be a man in modern society today. I teach you how to build your financial independence, how to build the physique that you want, and how to get the girls that you want, and how to manage all of that and be a man in today's society. So I got this email here. I'm just going to read you parts of it. This is from one of my coaching clients. Okay, I do some private coaching. I don't really advertise it because I don't really have very many slots open very often, but you know, if you're interested, I will put a link here to get private coaching from me. And as a perk of that, you know, some of my coaching clients, if they've been with me for a while, if they're coming down to San Diego or something, you know, we'll meet up in person. We'll do some in-person coaching. He says, John, thanks again for doing the in-person. It was great to hear some more insight / experiences you've had with business and relationship / dating. In a recent Bulldog membership video, you were talking about building a business and about how you can look at achieving big life goals. You mentioned that by default, guys should assume they will be spending at least 5 years working on whatever goal they're trying to achieve, whether that be success with women, building a business, or getting a really good physique. This is the truth, right? You could basically divide your life into 5-year segments, all right? And that would be a good way to look at your life, because whatever major goals that you want to accomplish, they're going to take 5 years. Okay, that's how you should look at things. And so, you know, if you're 20 years old, you've only got, you know, 2 segments, 2 things you can choose to do, really, between 20 and 30, okay? And 20 to 40, you've only got 4, right? So those, you can look at those as phases of your life that are major focuses, because it's much more effective to focus on 1 or 2 things and to be successful at those things than to focus on a whole bunch of things and not be successful and waste a lot of time. When you look at your life that way, I think it makes you really be cognizant of what kind of decisions you're making and how drastic and important those decisions are, okay? So anyway, he says, anyway, I'm wondering if you can elaborate on your thoughts on that concept or how you think about goals. Specifically, if you're working on a big goal, like the ones mentioned above, are you working on just one big goal at a time? Should you always pursue goals sequentially, or do you have some you work on in parallel? When I say, you know, dividing your life into 5-year increments and that it takes 5 years to be successful at something, it doesn't mean that's the only thing that you can do in your life. Michael Phelps, okay? The most winningest, the most gold medal winning Olympic athlete ever of all time, right? Now, okay, the Olympics come every 4 years, right? Okay, so if you think about it, it kind of fits, you know, pretty much perfectly with what I'm saying, right? If you want to be that level of caliber, if you want to win Olympic gold medals, okay, then your focus, right, your goal has to be singular. I know from his biography that he pretty much spent every single day training, like 6-7 hours a day, never missed practice. I think 1 or 2 times in his whole life he missed training, okay? 6-7 hours, 8 hours a day dedicated to that cause. That's what his life mission was. Now, did he ever watch a show on Netflix? Maybe, okay? Did he do anything outside of swimming? Very little, very little, okay? He just focused on that one thing, and that allowed him to achieve extraordinary results. If you need to be the best in the world, if you need to win the Olympic gold medal, okay, in that case, you are going to have to just focus on the one thing, right? So, you know, for instance, right, I do a lot of different things, right? You can see my medals. I run marathons, okay? So when I'm running those marathons, I'm not trying to be the best in the world, okay? I'm not focused on that 100%. So Again, though, I'm not really going to get very good at running marathons or running until 5 years have passed, right? It's going to take 5 years of training and working on that. Again, I'm not devoting my whole life to it. If I devoted my whole life to it for those 5 years, I could get probably pretty good. I'd probably have to lose a lot of weight. I can't, be a 240-pound marathoner. But I could get really, really good. When I talk about dividing your life into 5-year increments and how it's going to take 5 years to be successful at something, okay, you can do multiple things in parallel, right? There's some things that are going to lend themselves to being done in parallel because you have the time, right? The time is divided up, and you can focus on those things. And sometimes it's good to have more than one thing to focus on so that you don't get bored of the same thing. But you kind of need to pick one big goal, at the very worst, two big goals, and you really can't tackle more than that. If you go to college, you enroll in college, it's not the only thing you're doing in your life. If you want to be successful and be good and get good grades and stuff, you're probably going to devote a lot of time to that, but that's your focus. I mean, you're disrupting your whole life to go do this thing for 4 or 5 years, okay? That's, again, that fits into that framework, right? But it doesn't mean that's the only thing you're doing. Now, someone who really, really is focused on trying to achieve the best grades possible and, wants to get into, whatever it is, like very difficult to get into law school or something like that, they're going to focus a lot more, okay? And it's going to be more closer to their singular focus. But they might play some sports in college. Okay, they might do some other things. They might go out on the weekends and party with their friends, or they might be training for some event or something like that as well. And they might have some other hobby. Or they might be starting a business. So there's other things that you could be doing. All right. So that's one example. Let me give you another example. So building a business. All right. Let's say that you're building a business. I know a lot of you want to build businesses. If you're building a business, okay, you're going to have to be a lot more singularly focused, okay? It doesn't mean you can't go to the gym and work out, and it doesn't mean that maybe if you're learning some game and dating type of stuff that you can't get better with women and do that on weekends or on some nights of the week, right? But your primary focus is building that business, okay? So that's your primary goal. So you need to spend most of your time and most of your focus and most of your energy and effort on that, and you can only choose so many other things, right? There's almost this triangle that I was talking with a friend of mine, and we kind of came up with this triangle, right? And what it was is you've got money, fitness, women, okay, on that triangle, all right? And you can only pick 2 of those 3 things at any given time. Okay, that's kind of just another way of looking at this, right? But really, like what we're talking about in this case is goals specifically, right? That you can pursue, right? So if you're building a business, right, you can't build 2 businesses at the same time. It's really, really difficult to do. Now, you can get one on autopilot and you can get one running, and that's kind of the key to all of this. If you spend more time focusing, you're going to be more successful, and you're going to be able to put things on autopilot. When I was building up my Pluralsight courses, right, again, that was about 5 years of doing Pluralsight courses, I was focused mostly on that thing, right? And so you've got to, you can have some other things that are going on, but you got to have like the one main focus. And again, it's how deep do you want to go, right? And you're just going to be more successful when you have more of a focus. If, for example, you're trying to build a business, this is what I would do, okay? Because you might have multiple goals in life, right? You might want to say, well, I want to build a business. I want to get a good physique. I want to, learn a new language. I want to travel. I want to get better with women, right? I want to improve my dating, like those type of things, okay? So if you're trying to build a business, what I would do is I would dedicate 5 years to working really hard and building that business, okay? And focusing mostly on that thing. Now, if you have a regular job and you're trying to build the business, you're not going to have time for much else, okay? You might have to say, and I've been in this period of time, right, where it took me about 5 years to escape my regular job. I had the regular job, I was building the business on the side, okay? And I didn't have much time for anything else. I basically worked my regular job, built the business on the side, and I worked out. And that's all that I did. That's it. Just those 3 things. Nothing else. No recreation, didn't watch movies, didn't watch TV, didn't hang out with friends, didn't do anything else, didn't work on social skills, no other competencies, just worked on those 3 things, okay? Because that's all I had time for. And my big focus was building that side business. That was my 5-year goal, okay? So I was able to focus on that thing. If you don't have a regular job, if you're just working on the business, then maybe you could fit in a little bit more. Maybe you're working like 10, 12 hours a day on the business to grow it, for the first 5 years, but you've got a little bit of extra time. So maybe you could pick up something else. You can get in shape and you can still, you could do something. Simultaneous tracks would be fitness, like you want to keep your fitness going, okay? But maybe you could, maybe spend some time training for a marathon. Maybe you could afford the time to do that. Or maybe you could learn some game and some pickup skills if you wanted to learn that to get better with women. You could do that. You could schedule, 3-4 nights a week, all right? But each one of those secondary things is not going to grow as fast as the primary thing that you're putting your focus in. And you've got to have the primary thing. Okay, because it's way more effective to focus on at least one primary thing, right? So again, we could switch that around. I know some guys, they're like, well, I really need to develop the social skills. I really, like, the biggest part of my life that's suffering is dating, is attracting women. I feel like I really lack in this area. And so they might devote 5 years to just learning game and learning pickup and learning how to be better with women and learning relationship type of social skills and things like that. And so they might have some of the other stuff on the back burner, okay? And maybe you're successful with your business already and it's sort of running on autopilot. And you said, well, now, I really want to get in shape. So I'm going to spend the next 5 years getting in shape. And maybe, some of those things you can do more simultaneously than others. If your 5-year goal is to build a really good physique, okay, that doesn't require, you can only do so much, right? You can only do so much compared to building a business. So how much time can you devote to building a business? As much as you have, right? You could literally work on a business 20 hours a day and never get everything done, okay? So that one, is going to require more time and more effort, and it requires more to be successful at it, all right? But let's say that you want to build a physique. What can you really do? I mean, you could go to the gym every day, and you could lift an hour or two, and you could go do cardio every day for like half an hour, or something like that. Okay, and you can meal prep and get your diet in order, but that's only still going to take up 3-4 hours of your day at the most. Okay, so you see what I'm saying there is that you can't keep on adding to that, right? So that's going to be maximum effort. That's going to be beyond most people's maximum effort for getting in shape. Okay, so you're going to have some other room to do some other things in that time frame. So you could still have that as your 5-year goal. So you could have multiple ones. You just got to kind of fit this together. If you want to become, let's say that your dream is to become a famous musician, all right? If you devote 5 years worth of time, okay, of just doing nothing but playing like 9 hours a day of just focusing on your craft, you're going to be pretty damn good at the end of 5 years. It's going to probably be boring. A lot of other areas of your life are going to suffer. Maybe you can work out and maybe you can do one other small thing, okay, that you're not going to progress as fast at, but you could be a really, really good musician. But if it's just a hobby, if you're just like, well, I'd like to become good at playing guitar or something like that, okay, and you spend 5 years just, practicing every day on it, but not for 8 hours a day or 9 hours a day, just like for an hour or so a day, you're still going to become really, really good. And it's going to take about 5 years, right? It's the difference of how deep do you want to go? How important is it to you? Some people, they just want to build a successful business and they want to just be able to live off of that business, okay? Some people want to become millionaires. Some people want to become billionaires. If you want to become a billionaire, all right, you should probably focus on your business and nothing but your business for 5 years and then another 5 years, okay? You should probably really focus down and forget everything else. Maybe you don't even have time to work out or anything if you want to become a billionaire. That's the sacrifice that you're going to have to make, right? But the reason why I use this concept of the 5 years, okay, and I know this is going long, but I think this is really important for you guys to understand. If you're staying with me, that's good because you're invested in this. But the reason why I talk about this and why I think this is so important is for a couple of reasons. One of them is because most people give up too early. All right, if you're starting a YouTube channel and you start making videos and you make videos for like 6 months and you're not getting any subscribers and you're not getting any traction on that, then you give up. You've given up way too early. Okay, you're not even going to get any traction for the first year or 2 years. It's probably going to take 2 years. I always tell my coaching clients when they're starting any kind of thing like this, 2 years before you actually get traction. Okay, that doesn't mean you're successful. There's still probably another 3 years, so 5 years total before you're successful, right? Before, again, if you can look at this in many areas of my life. My example, this is how I know this for sure, right? Is if you look at my YouTube channel, right? Look at when I started it, and look at when I actually became successful, where I could actually make money off of it, where it's actually a business, where it's actually, I think probably where I hit 100K subscribers or so, and you would say that the YouTube channel is successful. It was about 5 years. You have to be willing to put in that much time. Okay, that's what it's going to take. All right. Now, like I said, you can pursue multiple tracks, and you can be doing multiple things. And I've done multiple things while I've been growing the YouTube channel. I was growing the Simple Programmer business. Right now I'm growing the Bulldog Mindset business. I've been doing, marathon training and lots of different things, okay? But just understand that if you really, really want to be a gold medalist, the more focused that you can be on one thing, the better, the deeper you're going to go. And to some degree, this is common sense, okay? But, and I go back and forth, right? In my own life, I'm like, man, I wonder if I should just be focusing on one thing and drop everything else. And, but there's pros and cons, right? If you just focus on one thing and drop everything else, you only make advancement in that one area, okay? But you're going to make really good advancement. So if it's worth it to you, go for it. And maybe for some period of time, it might be worth it. For me, there were periods of time where it was. When I did my Pluralsight courses, right? My Pluralsight courses that I've done have earned me over $3 million, okay? That was worth dedicating, 5 years. It was probably more like dedicating of 4 years to my life to focus pretty much solely on that. That was worth it, because that helped me for the rest of my life, right? That was something that enabled me to do a lot of other things and to make a lot of money building other businesses and doing things like that. So that was worth it, okay? But I'm not going to make that sacrifice now, because I don't need to make that sacrifice now. But during other periods of my life, I had 5-year periods where I was learning social skills, where I was learning things like game, where I was learning how to become a programmer even, right? All of these things, but they took about 5 years. So that's the reason why I'm telling you this, is because I want you to stick with things long enough. I want you to, if you decide you're going to build a business, a YouTube channel, get in shape, start running marathons, learn to get better with women, I want you to at least be willing to devote the 5 years and to realize that's how long it's going to take, okay? How you divide that time up is sort of up to you. You need to have your finances in order, right? As a man, you got to figure this shit out, okay? You got to build your finances. You should be working on your career and advancing it all the time, okay? Working on making more money, all right? You need to have your fitness, your health in check, right? You need to be working on that at the same time. And you need to have your social skills and relationships and dealing with women. That's going to be a part of your life. You need to get that in check, right? So you don't fall behind there. But tying it all together is the mindset. Right? And the mindset is the most important component. It's the most important piece. That's what's going to help you to achieve all these goals. Now, doing all three of those things at the same time, it seems like maybe that contradicts this 5-year focus on one thing, but it doesn't. What it means is that of this triangle, right, this inverted triangle, you're going to pick one or two of these areas, and you're going to focus more on those, and you're going to pick things out of those, and that's going to be your big goal, but you're not going to let the other things lag behind at the same time, right? So when I tell you, to pick something for 5 years that you're going to focus on, even if you have a deep focus on it, you should still be maintaining your fitness, improving that slightly. You might not be devoted to that, okay? Because that might not be the area that you really want to bring up, okay? But you got to keep, think of it as a vehicle, right? That all of the wheels have to be going, right? You can't let one of the wheels become deflated, otherwise the car is going to crash, all right? So you might be focusing on one thing, but you have to keep the other things going. So that's why I'm teaching you all of these things. Some of you are going to be really focused on one area. Some of you are going to say, you know what? I really, really want to get my financial shit together. I really want to build a business. Great, that's awesome. Let's talk about finances. Let's talk about real estate investing. Let's talk about, some of the concepts behind that, okay? Some of you are going to be really, really focused on women. You're going to say, man, I'm forever alone. I need to get to date. I need to get laid. I need to figure this shit out. I'm scared, okay? I need this. So you're going to be focused mostly on that. Some of you are going to be like, you're overweight and you're just don't feel good and you want to focus on your fitness and you're going to focus on that, okay? Some of you are going to focus on all of those things because you're just kind of developing them as you go. But all of you should be paying attention to all of these things at the same time, even though you don't have necessarily a focus specifically on one of those things. That's really important that you understand this so that you don't fuck up your life by just focusing on one thing and letting the other shit drop. Because I know a lot of people that have done that have built successful businesses, and they've gotten fat and out of shape, and they've made their health go down, and they've neglected their social skills, and it's not a pretty picture, because now they're trying to bring up those other areas, and then something else suffers. So it's a balancing act, it's a juggling act to keep this all together. Okay, but the key thing that binds it all together is this mindset. Because if you have the right mindset, again, this is the philosophy, this is the thing I'm talking about right now, really is mindset. Okay, because if you understand this, it's having this knowledge, it's having the wisdom really to discern how to move forward. That's going to help you to achieve all of those things in all of those areas. If you're, let's say again, you're going to college. If you're going to college, you're not just going to focus on, I'm just going to get my degree, right? You're probably going to have some other goal. Well, I want to play a sport in college, or I want to, not that I actually condone going to college. I don't think you should go to college. But anyway, just an example. But you're probably going to have some other things, right? You're going to have some kind of fitness goals. You're going to have, life goals. I've got one big goal usually at a time. And then I've got several other smaller goals, maybe like 3 at the max, right? I think of it in terms of, I've usually got one big one, and then 2 sub goals, okay, and then a bunch of other small stuff that I'm working on, right? It's sort of like a pyramid there. I think that's the best way to go. I make my life into systems that are repeatable, right? So I have a routine, a system that I'm incorporating that improves me in multiple areas, right? And I just keep on doing that every day, and I keep on moving forward. I don't necessarily have a big goal all the time at the end. I've got goals in my mind. Again, I call those aspirations. If I can do something that continually is making me better, then I'm going to keep on doing that, and can I keep on improving that? And then by virtue of doing that, I'm going to move towards a bunch of goals. I'm going to achieve a bunch of achievements along the way. The problem is when you focus on other things when they're not in that situation. You've got to be able to have them under control. You've got to be able to have the habits, or you have to have the leverage. Otherwise, you can't just do that, right? Again, we could talk about real estate investing or investing in general. If you're just starting out in real estate investing, right, you need to learn how to do this. You need to focus. You need to put in the effort and learn how to do this and do the transactions yourself. At some point, though, if you're making a lot of money and you understood the process, you could have people that were working for you that were buying the investments for you. A lot of really wealthy people do that. Okay, it's almost like it's kind of like the concept of hedge funds. It's a very similar concept, but a lot of people do that, and they create syndications, and there's all kinds of ways to do that. But the key thing is that you got to get the shit under control, where it takes up less of your time and effort to do it. When you first start a task, it might take a lot of time and a lot of effort to do it, whatever it is. But there's a point of time where that effort goes from 90% to 10%, and you're able to achieve the same results with just 10% of the effort. When you've got it there, then you can move on. What you don't want to do is wait till it gets to 50% of the effort, okay, and then try to put it on autopilot and try to focus on something else, because you're still putting in 50% effort and you don't have enough effort to do the next thing, if that makes sense. That's kind of the clearest way that I can explain this. This is a very complicated concept. It is not simple. It is not going to be simple to choose what you want to do in life and to figure out how to balance that shit. It is hard to do. But the biggest principle, there's 2 principles that I could give you to simplify this as much as possible that you could take away from this video. Okay? The first one is this, is that, again, I'll go back to the 5 years. Whatever you want to do, you have to give it at least 5 years. You have to be willing to commit 5 years, because that's what it's going to take to be successful. Okay? The scale in which you're successful, that we'll talk about next, but 5 years, that's a very important principle to understand. Don't undertake shit that you're not, if you want to be successful at it, that you're not going to put 5 years into. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time. Okay? You're gonna waste a lot of time if you can't do that. All right, so 5 years. You want to play guitar? 5 years. You want to get a good physique? 5 years. You want to get good with women? 5 years. You want to go to college? 5 years. You want to build a business? 5 years. You want to start a YouTube channel? 5 years. You want to start a successful blog? 5 years. Okay, whatever it is, 5 years. Just 5 years. I want you to just drill that into your fucking head so you understand that. That's principle 1. Principle 2 is about the 5 years. There's a scale, okay? And you could have, 50 things that you're doing at once for 5 years on this scale. And on the other end of the scale, it could be one thing, your singular focus. The better you want to get at something, right? The more world-class level you want to get, the more you have to be on the right-hand side of the scale. The less things that you can do. Okay, so you got to find the balance that is right for you and where it makes sense for you. Okay, if you really, really want to be a multimillionaire or billionaire, you should probably focus on just the business for 5 years and really maybe only have one other sub goal that you're working on for that 5-year period. Okay, that's how you're going to get that level of successful. If you want to win the Olympics, okay, win the gold medal, you don't even have a sub one. You just have one. That's it. Every morning you eat, breathe, sleep, train. That's it, right? Look at people like Ronda Rousey. Look at anyone that's been extremely successful. That's all they fucking do. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.